Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Um, Great to see you all online. I don't know you guys, but this is the year of webinars for you. I'm sure it is for me. I don't know how many webinars I've attended. It must be a record for all of us. So good on you that you can attend another one before the year end. I don't know. It's going to be a good one, I think. We're going to talk about the new investment law that's coming up or has really probably been enacted in Cambodia. And we've got some really good speakers, and I'm sure you're going to learn a lot from that. So thank you for attending. Um, we're still probably waiting for a few more participants, but that's all right. And also thank you for your patience for waiting. There's been a slight delay in starting. We'll explain more in a short while. But let's go quickly to our first speaker to kick us off. His name, Mr. Andrew Tay. I think a lot of you are probably familiar. I don't have to say much. He's the president of the Singapore Club Cambodia here. I've known him for, wow, many, many years. He's a real, what Americans call a real patriot of Singapore, but also a much beloved brother of Cambodia. I think he started off with a restaurant in East Coast, selling Cambodian food. And now he's the owner and director of Himawari Hotel and Resorts in Phnom Penh. So him and his wonderful wife Alicia and his wonderful family, I've known them for a long time. So um, really good that you can kick us off, and I'm sure you'll tell us more about the seminar. Over to you.
Thank you, Ikai. Yes, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry for the slight delay. Once again, welcome to today's third webinar session. And I'm excited to introduce today's topic on Cambodia new investment law, where everybody is waiting for. My name is Andrew Tay. I'm the president of Singapore Club Cambodia, and I'm also one of the shareholder and director of Himawari Hotel Apartments. It's with good news that Cambodia recently announced by Prime Minister Hun Sen has announced the end of the February 20th community event, which saw the first widespread outbreak of COVID-19 in Cambodia. With that, we see across all sectors have already reopened in terms of business and tourism and the recovery of the country's economy. This month, we have seen more flights coming in, streaming in from different countries, and resume flights such as flights to Siem Reap, opening up the VTL lane between Singapore and Cambodia, seeing more and more corporate and tourist guests returning to Cambodia. It is with great pleasure, and there is no better time such as now for Cambodia to attract investors from Singapore and in this region and throughout the world with its new investment law, which was passed recently in October of this year. Today, we are delighted to bring you our keynote speaker, Mr. Ross Chandra Rangse, Official of Public Relations and Promotion of Private Investment from the Cambodia Development Council, or for short called CDC, on behalf of His Excellency Sun Sopol, who will today highlight the key changes and the new incentive that has been in place for this investment law. Also, we have Mr. Seth Mintiet, Marketing Specialist of Cambodia from the Singapore Business Federation, who will explain how SBF can support us in consultation and business development into the Cambodian market. Last but not least, I would like to thank the following organizations and sponsors who make this webinar possible. They are Singapore Club Cambodia, Singapore Business Federation, Cambodia Development Council, Philip Bank, Himawari Hotel Apartments, Bizmaker, CEO Asia, and of course, our moderator today, Mr. Liao Yikai from RHT Law Cambodia. And of course, the audience from Singapore and Cambodia who have registered for this event. I would like to thank you for your time this afternoon. Before I pass this time to the speakers, may I wish all of you have a safe Christmas and a Happy New Year. Please remember to continue to stay vigilant in our fight against COVID-19. I hope to see you soon in Cambodia, if not in Singapore. So please stay safe. Thank you, and so kun. So without further ado, we will have a bit of short video of Philip Bang, who have supported us through this event, and also Himor Hotel Apartments. So thank you very much. And any question, you can ask all of us in the chat group. Thank you.
Trong បើកករណីថ្មីតែមិនមែនពេលមែនទេធនាគារ Philip មានសេវាកម្មបើកករណីដល់ទីកន្លែងដោយគ្រាន់តែភ្ជាប់ជាមួយនឹងអត្តសញ្ញាណប័ណ្ណឬលិខិតឆ្លងដែនមិនត្រូវការឯកសារច្រើននិងមិនត្រូវការប្រាក់តម្កល់ងាយស្រួលរហ័សទាន់ចិត្តអាចផ្ទេរប្រាក់ដោយឥតគិតថ្លៃបង្កើតកាតនិម្មិតក្នុងការទូទាត់ទំនិញអនឡាញនិងសេវាកម្មផ្សេងៗជាច្រើនទៀត
Sorry, I'm just trying to, okay, here we go. I have some trouble activating my video again. Thanks Andrew for the introduction, and thanks for the videos too of our sponsors. Great. We'll get straight into our first speaker today. Actually, thanks for introducing me too, Andrew. I forgot all about that. So yeah, we're actually very fortunate today to have someone from the Council of Cambodia Development Council, to speak to us. As mentioned, unfortunately, the main speaker has been called away, but Mr. Ross here has kindly agreed to step in and take up the challenge. So he's an investment officer at the CDC, and as you all know, the CDC is like our EDB, development board. So it's a perfect organization to speak to us about the new investment law in Cambodia. He has been very involved in the agriculture projects and in many of the other foreign aid projects in Cambodia. The CDC is at the forefront of attracting foreign investments into Cambodia. So he's the perfect person to speak to us, and really looking forward to that. So thank you again, and we look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you very much. I'd like to thank all the Singapore counterparts that helped arrange this meeting, this webinar, especially to Singapore Cambodian Club that Andrew has always been hands-on and helped us promote more investment into Cambodia. As we know, during this pandemic time, it's been really hard, but the Cambodian government, the royal government, has been very active in terms of planning for when post-COVID is here. So what have we been doing during this pandemic time to make sure that we stay resilient is that the new investment law, of course, I have 2 points to address actually. First is that during this pandemic time, it was very hard to get paperwork done because the fear of COVID. And so we implemented the QIP online, Qualified Investment Project online, which our investors do not have to visit us in person. They can do all their procedures online. And also we have implemented the master list online. And this has been very helpful as everyone is scared to meet each other. So we help facilitate in this matter. And the second thing is that the new law on investment has now been promulgated. But I would like to tell you that this law is a brand new law. It's not an amended law, and it was created during the COVID, like the critical times of COVID-19. And we know that the economy has been very stagnant or going towards a lower end. So we put very considerable thoughts into this law because we know that everyone is not so eager to invest at this time. But when post-COVID comes, this law has to come out. And we made it very generous so that though the economy is down in the whole world, but this law is generous to where it would still attract investors in a certain way. And I would like to go into detail in this now, and I would like to share with you just my slides. I will go through it, and if you have any questions at the end, please feel free to ask. Can everyone see my screen? Is it okay?
Yes, it's good, Mr. Ross.
All right, sounds good, sounds good. Let me just adjust this a bit. So let me go through the basics with you, share some investment opportunities in Cambodia, because we know that Andrew, that consultancy firms, that banks are the key players who will attract investors to Cambodia. So let me make this very clear and comprehensive for everyone here. These are the 3 things that I would like to talk about in my presentation today. First is the economic performance of Cambodia, just to give everyone a brief background. And then we will go into why you should invest in Cambodia. And last but not least, how we would leverage industrial linkages. Okay, so the economic performance in Cambodia, we plan to be upper middle income country by 2050. And this is a very, you can say, good goal. However, the pandemic has been very unhelpful, and we still strive for this. And this is why the new law will be so much a helping hand for us to reach this goal. These are the investment trends. As you can see here on the left, it's by sector, and it's in the first half of 2021. Have a look here. So why choose Cambodia for your next investment destination. It's a strategic location. We have resources available, and we have a pro-business approach. We go into detail with this. So as you know, Cambodia is located right between two large economies, which is Thailand and Vietnam. And we have been working very hard to create better, you can say, business linkages, industrial linkages, as well as infrastructure linkages between these two economies, as well as the new port in Sihanoukville, as well as the special economic zone there as well. So from every angle, we are strengthening our linkages. And this can go into much detail when we incorporate the Vietnam +1 or Thailand +1 to give investors more opportunities to integrate into the market and get better profits, as you can say. So Cambodia is located at the center of ASEAN, with borders in Thailand, Vietnam, and Laos. We have a population of 16 million, and most of our population, this is very good for investors, is that it's younger than 35 years old. So everyone is still strong, everyone's dynamic, and can be trained and can adapt to most things that investors need. We are deeply connected with the regional value chain. You know, RCEP, we just recently had the CCFTA, Cambodia-China Free Trade Agreement, and the Korean-Cambodia Free Trade Agreement. So amongst others, there's also double taxation agreements, I believe we have with Singapore, Hong Kong, and many other countries. This is all the aspects that investors would want to look at to understand and see how they can operate their business. So we have definite resources. So as you know, Cambodia is at the middle of the peninsula, you can say. We have the natural endowment. We have cultural heritage. We don't have any natural calamities. We don't have earthquakes or typhoons. We have a competitive labor force. Most is the younger than 35, and the minimum wage is very competitive to the neighboring countries, and this is something that investors will look at as well. Pro-business approach. We do 3 things at the council. We do investment promotion, and this is through incentives, guarantees. We do facilitation. This is through paperwork, procedural work, or any laws and regulations that investors need help with. We are here for that. And after investors have launched their business here, we perform aftercare. We check up on them, see if they're doing okay, and see how we can help them improve their businesses and expand. So because we really want to be involved in the global value chain, and this I will go into more detail later on. Investment facilitation. So this is within the new law. We will get your documents approved within 20 working days as opposed to 31 working days from the last law. We have a single registration certificate. Before we had multiple, so now it's a lot simpler. As I mentioned earlier in the presentation, registration through information technology platforms. So the QIP, Qualified Investment Project, as well as the Master List Online is there for investors to use. And we updated the way this is performed, processed. So we have a barcode that would easily be able to identify which projects you're with, and this would make the procedure a lot faster, less paperwork. Investment projects have obtained a registration certificate may be implemented automatically. This some more investment facilitation measures that we will help investors to launch faster and with more ease. Issuance of letter to certify the status of an investor. So once they get this, they will be able to do their business operation. We also provide special procedures related to work permits. If someone wants to come from as a specialist to work on site, they can come talk to the CDC, and we will make sure that they have ease in obtaining their work permits. We've been strengthening our one-stop mechanism, strengthening our monitoring and inspection mechanism, and we also have been organizing the approval process for municipal and provincial subcommittees, because before the CDC would accept investment projects for 2 million USD and up. Now for 5 million and below would go to the municipal provincial investment subcommittees. And if there's any way we can help with this, you can come to the CDC and we would help you with this facilitation measure as well. So investment incentives, these are the sectors and activities that are entitled to investment incentives. Industries and manufacturing, very broad. We have physical infrastructure, agriculture and agro-industry, SMEs, green energy, special economic zone, services, EVT, and that's like training or schools that provide vocational training or something. We will also incentivize very comprehensively. And this can all be found in Article 24 and 28 of our new investment law. Now let's get to the fiscal incentives, which I believe everyone has been wanting to see this part. As I said earlier in the presentation, this law was made during the COVID pandemic, and we know that investors aren't so keen to look to new destinations to invest. Therefore, this new law, we have made it very easy for them to pick Cambodia as the next investment destination. And with everyone's help, I think this is possible. So for the fiscal incentives, as we had in the old law, 3 to 9 years from the first earning of revenue or income. But the new thing that we incorporated in this new law is that there's a progressive rate for another 6 years. And it's defined right here. So for the first 2 years, it will be 25%. The next 2 years will go up to 50%. The next 2 years will be the last phase, will be 75%. And then it will be 100%. And this is a total of 15 years for certain investment projects. And this would help the investors decide to come to Cambodia a lot easier. And option 2 is special depreciation, deduction up to 200% of specific expenses. Other incentives include, these are new as well, prepayment tax exemption during income tax exemption period, and the minimum tax exemption, 1% every month, would be exempted if they have an audit report carried out. We have also export tax exemption for certain sectors, certain investments. This is case by case. And more fiscal incentives that these we had in our old investment law as well, is that we have exemptions on custom duties, special tax, and value-added tax. And for the import of construction materials, production equipment, construction equipment, and production inputs for supporting industries or export QIPs. If they want to manufacture something, they can bring their linkages or their components in, manufacture, and then bring out. This would qualify for production inputs. And all of these incentives regarding fiscal incentives is directly related to the law on financial management for this year. So in more detail, we can look at that law. So there's additional incentives for fiscal incentives, such as value-added tax exemption for the purchase of locally made production inputs. So if some SMEs were to supply to QIP companies, they would qualify for VAT exemption. Deduction of 150% tax base for research and development and innovation, provision of vocational training, construction of accommodation, canteens, nurseries, facilities, upgrading of machineries, provision of welfare for Cambodian workers and employees. Basically, if companies are doing extra for their investment projects and for their employees, the Cambodian people, their workers, there will be a tax incentive for this kind of ESG or green contribution that they have. And now in this new law, we have existing QIP companies. They also want to know, hey, there's a new law, can I get something from this new law? And yes, we have allowed and thought about this. So companies that are already existing in Cambodia can expand their QIP projects and get tax exemption for this as well. Tax incentives. This is for special tax incentives. Any specific investment activity having high potential to contribute to national economic development, such as R&D, research, like something more towards innovation, helping people, this will be considered as special tax incentive, and specifically in the financial management law. And not just tax incentives, but as you know from the Cambodian, the old law, is that we have guarantees as well. And guarantees include no discrimination any nationality is all treated the same. No nationalization. We will not take any property and make it the government's. No expropriation. No price controls on product or services. We won't tell you you have to sell this product for a certain price. Free transfers, meaning that the profits that you derive from your business in Cambodia may be remitted to your country without any quota or anything. Protection of intellectual property. And this has just been included in the new investment law. And we know our Singaporean partners are very happy to see this. Provision of aftercare services for investment. This is new as well. Now we are, after companies have registered, they've been with us for a certain amount of time, we make sure we check up on them. We make sure we update them on the newest government measures to help businesses, such as the COVID-19 measures, or we had a fast track lane before when it was at the middle of the COVID pandemic, where we still wanted investors to come and clear their documents or something like this. We created a fast lane. This is no longer active because we now are allowing flights to come in more easily. Leveraging for industrial linkages. So I would like to summarize this slide is that we had a serious energy problem in Cambodia, and all our investors from every nationality has asked us to work on this, and what they have asked, we have done. Our Prime Minister has spoke with the electricity managing hand of the government, and they've created a plan, and there are in 2019, I believe we had so many blackouts, but now we have more stable energy supply, and the cost is going down dramatically. And we are open to receive more investments in this as well to contribute to the energy demand in Cambodia, because we are, as you can say, industrializing so fast, and we need support in all sectors, and there's potential for all our business partners in all sectors. And with this, we have many special economic zones ready for your investments, partnerships. This is the map, the currently updated map of the new investment project, special economic zones. As you can see, we have with Thailand, with Vietnam, and some near Laos as well, and some near the coastal area to access to the Sihanouk Field Port, which would now make facilitation of the business environment a lot more easier. This is a success story of Minivia in Cambodia. They were established in 2010, and they have been with us for a while, and now their investment capital has increased as they find themselves very in good hands in Cambodia, and now they will look at this new investment law and see how the new law can help them increase their capacity in Cambodia more, to the part where we put the expansion of current QIP projects. this is another success story. We have SVI here, and they're also very happy to be with us. And this is for Denzo. They also want to expand as well, but I will not go into too much detail. I can just show you that this new law is ready for your collaboration with us. So these are just some questions to help start discussions for Q&A, or for us to ask you, our helping hand. How can we get more investors here? What can we do? So what would it take for your company to invest in Cambodia? You can ask us, you can ask the consultants we work with. You can ask SCC, Singapore Cambodian Club. You can ask Philip Bank, all of these. And we will all work together to make sure that your investment is in good hands and taken care of here in Cambodia, and to access as many supporting policies as possible. So these are just some questions, and I hope that together with the banking side, the consultancy side, the public sector side, I hope that when we get your investment here in Cambodia, we can work together to make it a successful venture.
Very good afternoon. I'm William Chung from Singapore. Can I ask a question?
Sure, sir, please.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can hear you.
Okay, sorry. Now, my question is very simple. For foreign investor, let's say Singaporean wanted to go there for investment. So can we own 100% company, or must be 51% by the local?
Yes, thank you for asking this question. I actually did not mention it in my slide. Yes, you can. The only thing in Cambodia is that for land ownership, foreigners cannot own land. However, there are ways to still conduct business operations here, and for this, I would refer you to our Singaporean consultants to see how the laws and regulations would support your venture. Thank you.
My meaning is that to own a enterprise, a company, are we only maximum can hold 49%? The local must 51%.
No. For the entity, you can own 100%.
100%. Huh?
But for the land, it's foreigners can work with a partner to operate.
Okay, very clear. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you for the good question.
Hi, everybody. If you want to ask questions, actually, we have a Q&A session after the second speaker. So, but if you have any, urgent questions you want to ask Mr. Ross now, also feel free to do so. You can also write your questions in the chat, and we can cover that at the Q&A session. But thank you, William, for that quick fire question there.
My honor. Thank you very much to answer my question.
Good. Yeah.
Thank you.
Great. Okay. Shall we move on then? Thank you, Mr. Ross. Very clear and comprehensive. Stay there. Don't go away. We've got Q&A coming up. Yeah. Very happy to introduce our next speaker. Mintet is from the Singapore Business Federation. Federation, I'm sure a lot of Singaporeans are very familiar with. It's a government entity established to help companies from Singapore go regional, particularly in the Asian or ASEAN. Well, actually not really, but Mintet is particularly focused on Cambodia and Myanmar, helping companies go there to do business, to set up, especially He's been very involved in many of the industries, whether it's agriculture or pharmaceutical or fintech or whatever it is. He's our go-to guy. I've done many projects with him. He's a very hands-on guy. If you want to go into any of these countries, he's the guy that you go talk to kick off and to start off, right? So very happy to have him. Mintat, over to you.
Thank you, Ikai, for the wonderful introduction. Yeah, hi everybody in the audience today. Yeah, my name is Mintat. Said Mintat, that's actually a Burmese name. So I am in charge of the Cambodia market over here at Global Connect at SPF, right? But not just Cambodia. I'm also in charge of the Myanmar market at the moment. But okay, you know what? Today our focus is definitely on Cambodia and the exciting new investment law, right? Yeah. So just to begin, I just want to thank Andrew, Jason, and the rest of Singapore Club Cambodia for giving me the opportunity to represent Global Connect at SPF on such an impactful stage, right? When not just a webinar one way, but this is a very interactive form that we're gonna do, and I think it's a lot more impactful, a lot more engaging, right? And also thank you so much, Mr. Ross, just now for the insightful presentation. I think you really cleared up. You know, people just hear, oh, new investment law, it's friendly to investment, but what exactly is it? I think you really pointed it down to the, you know, process the T and all the I's, you know, dots on the I's and all that. So for this presentation, I just want to give another perspective, right? So Mr. Ross has given a good perspective from the law aspect, and I'd like to give a little bit of perspective from the Singaporean businesses side, right? So I understand that in the audience we have Singaporean businesses, we have you know, some businesses that's already in Cambodia, that are considering Cambodia. We also have Cambodian businesses as well as other dignitaries. So I think this will be useful for you one way or another. Next, please. Yeah, so I think I'd just like to introduce a little bit of who I'm representing. I'm representing the program called Global Connect at SPF. So yes, we are part of Singapore Business Federation, but it is a special program that we have, SPF is working together with Enterprise Singapore on focusing on helping our SMEs internationalize, right? Just a little background on some of us who may not be familiar. Singapore Business Federation is the apex business chamber in Singapore. And in fact, any company, all companies that are 500,000 capital and above, right, are automatically a member of SPF. And right now we have about 26,000 members in SPF, right? And one of the key thrusts I mentioned is to internationalize. But here's the thing, right? That's why I want to differentiate. Global Connect at SPF doesn't just help SPF members. We help SMEs in Singapore as a whole. So if your organization is not a member of SPF, but wants some insights, wants some advice on internationalization, you can still approach us and our market specialists will help you. So for example, Cambodia and Myanmar, I will, right? And Cambodia recently has been quite a market of interest. I'll get to that in a little bit. Next, please. Next, please. Yes, thank you. So the way that, this is good, yeah. The way that Global Connect does is that we does three things, right? Learn, land, localize, 3 L's, easy. Learning, right, is basically what we do with webinars such as this. We also organize our own webinars. We did one last year and we had support from SCC. LC Ikai was there as well, so thank you very much for that. Yeah, so webinar is where you learn about the market, different aspects of it, right? Today we're learning about the investment law. The previous webinar, we just did a bit more on like the general trends in Cambodia. But not just that, like in Global Connect, we can also do learning about other things such as the free trade agreements. We have a department specifically just for FTAs, and they'll be able to advise you on that. So if that's something you like, you can also reach out to me, right? So that's learning. But we're not just event organizers, you see. We actually want to land. We want to help companies land. Our real impact that we create is when Singapore companies land in overseas markets. And one of the interests is, of course, Cambodia. And this is we don't just want to learn and end with it. we got to take the learning and apply it, right? And that's where the real like impact is created, right? But what I also want to take to the next step, I think this is also where we really get a lot of support from SCC, is to localize. After you land in the market, you got to localize, you got to adapt to the culture. Cambodia has a very different culture from Thailand, very different culture from Myanmar. Those are all very different, and you got to localize if you want to survive, especially as an SME, right? So next, please. So just to break down a little bit on the things that SBF provides in terms of learn, learn, and localize. Learning, right? Curated resources such as webinars and the likes. And we also sometimes have structured trainings, free trade agreement advisories. And something else that we're going to be having next year is an overseas market workshop, right? We're going to have an overseas, we're going to bring a group of serious SMEs that are very interested in Cambodia to bring on a trip to really meet with the counterparts in Cambodia in person. I mean, a lot of us in the audience today, we're seasoned businessmen, right? You're seasoned businessmen, it's very relationship based. And up until, okay, right now we're in the COVID stage. We try to do a lot of things online, but nothing really beats meeting face to face. And we really understand that, right? So that's why we want to bring like maybe 10 to 12 Singapore companies that are serious about investment in Cambodia. And we're going to bring them there next year. We're going to be releasing details of this very soon. So if you want to be in the loop, right, just do let me know as well. Other than that, there are also trade shows and conferences, and we also do supports for that. Next part is the landing, right? First, we have Global Connect B2B online platform. We have many merchants and we have businesses on there, and we want to scale, beyond just the one-to-one matching and make it a many-to-many sort of network effect. And of course, we also have a team of advisors that can advise you not just on Cambodia, but also every other market in the world. And the thing is, we also have a couple of offices that we're focused on. ASEAN is a key market, and SBF has office right now in Ho Chi Minh City, as well as Jakarta, and the next one is coming up in Bangkok. So that's it. Next, please. Yes, so just want to show a little bit about the impact that we've been. Oh, yeah. Awesome, thanks, Ross. Definitely, we're gonna keep in touch. Yeah, like we've only started Global Connect in 2019. This is only like the start of our 3rd year running, and I'm very happy to announce that we've made quite a big difference. We've helped quite a number of companies, right? In fact, it's been over 2,500 businesses in total already, all over the world, not just ASEAN. But what we found out is that the key market is still engaged in ASEAN. It's again 84% of the interest is still in ASEAN, right? And this is something, okay, that I like to share as a market specialist for Cambodia and Myanmar, is that initially, right, like Singapore SMEs, when they come out to us, first few markets that they typically think of, right, is the big ones, like Vietnam, Indonesia, Thailand, right? And way back, like, Cambodia wasn't much on the radar, but that has been changing. That has been changing. And of course, part of it is definitely because of very attractive incentives like the new investment law that we're just talking about today. And another one, of course, Cambodia as a market is just looking very good, right? A very young working population, right? A lot of opportunities in almost every sector, right? Of course, specifically something that we're particularly interested in is just digitalization, manufacturing, agro-tech. That's something, and as well as F&B. Those are the few that I've been dealing with lately, right? And so that interest has been increasing, but there's still a little bit of fear, right, amongst the Singaporean SMEs. And that fear is not because of risk, but it's more because of lack of knowledge, right? A lot of people don't know enough about Cambodia to like want to make the decision. But then you see there are Andrew here, Yikai here, who's there and is already reaping the rewards of going in early. See? So yeah, like but SMEs are still a little bit wary because they're not sure what they're getting into. They only know Cambodia. It's like, oh, there's opportunities, but what exactly is it, right? So I think webinars such as these are the perfect way to sort of alleviate those kind of fears, right? Next, please. Hi. So anyway, so that's on the Cambodia side. I just want to share a little bit more as well of some other projects that we have done. In terms of Cambodia, we've only started the Cambodia desk quite recently. In fact, less than about 6 months back, actually. But before that, we've been focusing quite a bit on Vietnam and Indonesia and the other ASEAN markets, right? And here are some of the companies. You may be familiar with some of the brands that we see here. Uncle Sabas, if you've seen poppadoms in NTUC, yes, we've helped them to go into not just Vietnam, I think in the Central Asia as well. Anyway, these are all in the reports that's covered by my colleagues, right? And also we have range like Q Organics, as well as like Vibes Mastery. So we are quite industry agnostic, right? Help everyone, and we'll try and help as much as we can in terms of law, like in terms of finding distributor and all these things. Next, please. Yeah, and as I mentioned, the other education aspect is the FTAs, right? As you know, like ASEAN, we have an FTA agreement. There's also like the FTA agreements that Mr. Ross has mentioned just now. Yeah, our team can definitely give you a lot more insight, a bit more specialized consultation for your business if you are interested in pursuing that route. Next, please. And this is the Global Connect B2B digital marketplace that I've briefly mentioned just now, right? As you know, business matching, this is, if you put it out down into simple words, is what we try to do. But it's a very one-to-one, resource intensive. So Global Connect B2B, with what we're trying to do is make it a little bit more scalable. And so far, we've already got over 2,000 businesses onboarded and over 3 million transacted. So I would say we're growing quite steadily. And I think you're welcome to join this network, right? Next, please. And yes, as I mentioned just now as well, we're not just like business, just bureaucrats sitting here in Singapore and just like, just stopping. No, we really believe in being on the ground, right? We can read all the reports, we can read all the news and everything, but nothing beats having on the ground information. And this is something that's like at the core of what our Global Connect, my department is really trying to do. And that's why we have offices set up right now in Jakarta and Ho Chi Minh City, and right now in Bangkok. We might have a fourth one setting up soon, but we'll see where that's gonna head. So as SMEs, you definitely understand, like, you have to be on the ground to get the real information, and only the real information is going to be useful for you to decide whether you want to bring that investment forward in Cambodia. Next, please. Next, please. Yeah. So just want to mention, we also have a few strategic partnerships. One of them being UOB, as well as Keppel Land. So in some of the markets, such as some out of ASEAN markets, we do work with partners who provide co-working spaces, as well as like banking services and etc. Next, please. Yeah. And one other thing that we do work with is we also, since we are a TAC, okay, it's a very jargon, trade associations and chambers, right? That's what TACs were. We use TACs. We have close relations with not just TACs within Singapore, but also associations and chambers in market as well. So one of the recent project that that's pretty impactful would be the one where we landed 12 Singapore food companies at once in Vietnam through a hamper project. So as you know, like Vietnamese celebrate the Tet, right? And also what we did was to bring 12 different food items, put it in a hamper and put it on supermarket shelves in Vietnam. So this is something that we're also trying to go for. If you know, like us Singaporeans, Singaporean companies especially, they like to go solo, what we call go commando, and sometimes it works out, but it's always better to work as a pack. And this particular project has really proven that, right? As you know, like there are also Chinese companies are quite famous for working as a pack, and they found quite a bit of success, in foreign markets. And that's something that can work well because you tap on each other's resources, and you share the risk and the like. So this is something that we're trying to push for, right? And it is actually working out pretty well. And this is just one of the first few projects that has worked. Next, please. And regarding Cambodia, in particular, Global Connect and Cambodia, we really believe that there's a lot of potential, right, in Cambodia for Singapore businesses. And there are just a few very solvable challenges that stands in the way for Singapore businesses decide to really take that leap into Cambodia. And one of them is knowledge. And I hope this webinar at least put some of that fear at ease, right? Now, there are two key factors, right? Two key reasons why like Cambodia's attractive market from our point of view. There's push and pull. The push factor is that there is some level of market saturation already, right? So Vietnam has been popular for a while now, and it's still popular. It's still a great market depending on your specific industry, right? But there's quite a bit of saturation, and it also means quite a lot of competition. And some other markets are also adopting more protective measures. For example, recently Indonesia has raised its minimum capital, and now it's $1 million. Of course, if there is an opportunity that is big enough for you to take up, that it's definitely worth it, right? But for those of us who are trying out, maybe it might be a bit of a barrier, right? And another one is that recently, with the COVID situation, this is something interesting I thought that Mr. Ross has mentioned. With COVID situation, the investment slowed down. But from what we hear from the Singapore businesses, that it's not necessarily slowed down. It's more of they're taking this chance to take a step back, right? To really analyze, like, okay, where is the best place to put my next investment? So this slowdown is not a matter of just fear of uncertainty, but businesses are moving, right? But they're just not moving in as visible of a way that we may be thinking. So there is actually a boom coming, right? In fact, you can already see snippets of it, but the internationalization boom is coming, and that's something that we believe, and we're trying to make it so that we're ready for it, right? Another pull factor is that there's growing opportunities in many industries, right? In Cambodia, as mentioned, manufacturing, agrotech, education, digital economy, and of course, the new investment law, which makes it really investment friendly, and also all the initiatives and all the incentives. So that really makes Cambodia as one of the more viable options, right, for Singaporean businesses to internationalize. And be it it's the first time internationalizing, or be it, you've been in the ASEAN market before, you know how things roll, and you're looking for a new growing market, it is a viable option, and we've been seeing results of that from our end. Next, please. So that is just a little bit that I'd like to share about Global Connect at SPF, as well as the responses and also the insights that we've seen from Singaporean businesses about opportunities in Cambodia. If you have any queries, you want to find out more, you want to be part of the initiative, want to be kept in the know, definitely reach out to me. This is my email, my mobile number's all there, right? Or else you can also reach out to the Global Connect desk, right? So if you just take a while, just take a look at this. Later, I might just put the email down in the chat box, right? So don't worry about that. Next one, please. Or, yep, you can just connect to us, right, through any of these means: email, website, global hotline, or just reach out to us in any of these, and one of our colleagues will attend to you. It doesn't have to be anything solid. If you just want to ask for some advice, that works as well. So that comes to the end of my presentation. Thank you so much for your attention, and I hope it's been useful. Back over.
Thank you, Mintet. Thank you for also another very clear and comprehensive presentation. Yeah, definitely like to see more Singapore products in Cambodia. I'm sure all of us would, especially food stuff. And I hear a boom coming. Huh? Okay, that's good. That's the main message I got.
Yeah.
All right, so I guess it's time for a bit more excitement and interaction from everybody. Before that though, we're gonna take a photo, right, Glenn? Our photographer here is about to take a photo for all of us. So you want us to turn on our cameras, I guess. Is that right?
So, okay, wait, let me try and remove everyone's spotlight. Hang on a second.
So come on, you chaps. If you're attending a seminar, you will be there face to face anyway. So appreciate if you can turn on the camera. Let's see. Logi, I see you. How are you? You're not at Dakshin, are you, Logi?
Not today, not today.
Okay. My McClellan is still unfinished over there. Gotta get back to that.
Okay, are we ready?
A few more cameras.
Yes,
Come
yeah,
on.
ready.
Huh? Fill up the screen.
Yeah.
Come on. Jane, is that you, Jane? From Canopy Sands, is that you? Can't see. Switch on your camera. Okay, I guess that's it. Glenn, go ahead.
Right, ready? 1, 2, big smile, please, everyone. All right, can I get a thumbs up from everyone? Might as well, right? So we can. Okay, got it.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Yes, thank you. So thank you.
All right, we're having a Q&A session now, so feel free. I think if you want to ask questions, just switch on your audio and fire away. Although you can write your questions in the chat, and we'll repeat it for you as well. Maybe I'll start off with a question to Ross. Ross, I think one of the fiscal incentives you mentioned in your slides, it's about deduction of 150% if you're doing a series of things, right? Like R&D and building of employee accommodation, I think. So 150% of what? Deduction of 100%. How is that calculated? And how do you gain from that? Can you elaborate, please?
This question actually would be, so the CDC, what we do is we have over 30 ministries involved, as we are the ones who brings all these ministries together, and we say, hey, here's the investor, this is the type of project they want to do, and we have the General Department of Taxation, we have Ministry of Education, we have so many ministries, and once the investors come and ask the specific questions, we have the, you can say attaché, it's more of a diplomatic term, but we have them right here stationed at CDC for more specific and technical questions. This is also for like working permits or something. Once they come here, we can tell you exactly what it is. But for right now, within the scope of just promoting broadly, I would say if we want to address this question, I would ask you to kindly send an email to us or just write me through the phone. And tomorrow morning, I have my finance expert here right next to me, so I can ask him right away and give you a reply back.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Yeah, so, sorry about that. Some things I did not mention in my slide is that we have other facilitation mechanisms. My department and I, we have been to Nanning, we have been to Indonesia, we have been to Vietnam, we've been to Laos, Thailand, right before the pandemic to do investment promotion. And many investors always inquire about this one question. They ask us, when I come to Cambodia and I need lawyers or I need consultants, or if I need to procure some materials to create my finished goods, who do I talk to? And as you know, we do not have all the companies on the top of our, could just tell them like that easily. And also we work for the government. So the CDC has created the supplier database with sustainability dimensions. And this, you can visit our website, cdc.gov.kh. And with this, there are 40 companies now, SMEs, and big investors, big companies would come and they would look at this database and partner with these people in the database. First, because it's on the CDC website and we are the ones introducing it to them, and we are a government entity. And second, if you have the SMEs have the capability and the freedom to write their own description. And it's very easy to find the contact number and everything. We made it very transparent and there's no fee on this supplier database. So I encourage all Singaporean companies in Cambodia to launch with them. I know Himawari is currently lodging now. And one more thing, this one you kindly mentioned in my short biography, but it's actually very new to Cambodia. Before, when investors would come to the CDC in the field of agriculture, we would say, hey, please go to the Ministry of Agriculture, see what crops that they're prioritizing. Hey, go to the Ministry of Commerce to check up with the FTA and how you can utilize this. Hey, please go to the Ministry of Industry, Handicraft. They can tell you how to bring in fertilizers that contain chemicals. Hey, go to Ministry of Economic and Finance to see tax incentives. And they don't speak Cambodian, the investors. You see? So with the help of the Australian government through the CAVAT program, we are now creating a agri-food investment desk. And there's gonna be so much information. It's gonna be a sub-website from our website. And the members of this desk will contain all the concerned ministries in agri-food investment, which means that from the point where they invest through the banking system, to the point where they actually bring in the seedlings to plant, to the point where it's in the infancy and nursery stage, to the point where they need to harvest, to the point where they need to export and see how they would handle logistics, how can they get export exemption, everything would be here at the CDC. So this is a very wholesome approach, and I'm excited, and I'm doing this one hands-on. So I hope everyone can contribute to this, because Cambodia has so much land that's fertile land that can be, they call it agrable land, that can be used. So we have so much potential in that sector. Thank you.
Thanks, Ross. I can see you're very passionate about that project, and it's great to hear. Great to hear about the focus on agriculture and the industry and so on. There's a couple of questions on the chat line, so I'll just repeat those. There's one, I'm not sure who sent it, but it says that there was an agreement signed between Singapore and Cambodia government on protecting Singapore investors a couple of years ago. So the question is, what does it protect? Actually, I probably will start with what agreement was this, Joe? Do you know, Ross? Do you have any idea?
Yes, I can explain a bit on this.
Okay.
So the agreement that we use as a, you can say, a diplomatic tool, as well as a just something to break the ice, you know, and it's also can be used by law as well. Is that, for example, if I approach someone as a business partner, I would have to give them the scope of work that I want to work with them with. And this, in the context of a country, is that we talk to our partners about liberating investment, which means that you can access our market, we can access your market. Once you come, we will help you facilitate your procedure, investment facilitation. We have consultancy firms that can help. Brother Min Hit has mentioned, he can help with this. SCC knows the layout, can help facilitate. And last but not least, liberating, facilitating, and protecting. And this protection is where I mentioned in my slide presentation about, hey, we won't tell you how to sell this product at this price. You know, we're not going to do that. We're not going to take your property, intellectual property, and make it estates or anything. So by this, you can lodge under the investment law, which you will be protected under this. And this is what is the agreement is, liberating, facilitating, and protecting.
Great. Thank you. I hope that answers that question. There's another question. Actually, I have a question for you, Mintet, but hang on, since we're on a roll here. There's a question from a West. I think Ross, you're also looking at the chat there. He's asking you, are you referring to ACIA for ASEAN?
I think
Ross?
West has also.
West. I don't know if you're Cambodian, but thank you for this question. But in this scope, you know, I'm new to CDC, but I know about it. The ASEAN Comprehensive Investment Agreement is a larger regional framework that is decided amongst all ASEAN members to help facilitate investment, something like this. But we do have bilateral ones as well between certain countries. And this, I hope this answers the question. Yes.
Wes, I see you there. How is that sufficient for you?
Yeah. Actually, I'm very. Thank you,
My first time.
So everybody, to everyone. I I'm very, very surprised that I'm among greatness here. And this is my first time having entered into this great opportunity to at least introduce myself to His Excellency and to Mr. Ted and Mr. G and Mr. Andrew there. I guess what I'm trying to what I did was I was trying to make sure, was it an ACCIA, or I didn't realize it was a bilateral treaty. So I thank you for letting me know. But I'm very interested to Mr. Ross. Mr. Ross stated that he ponders as he meets a lot of investors in different organizational states, Singapore, Malaysia, or Indonesia, and people would come up to him and say, "Hey, how do I do this? How do I do that?" As a lawyer in Cambodia, as an expat from America, I'm having that same issue. Now, what I'm asking here is, how can I belong to the group, to the directory? I drive by CDC every day. I look at it. I try to go in there, but I don't know if I should be in there. And I'm very honored right now and really pushing myself. Maybe tomorrow I'll be going to CDC just to check it out and see if there is any guidelines of what to do, because I do have questions, a lot of questions of investment, and several of my clients that spoke to me, I kind of push them aside a bit because I'm not too sure where to go in Cambodia. So thanks for the opportunity for allowing me to speak, Mr. G. Appreciate it. And again, thank you. I'll take it offline.
អរគុណច្រើនបង you know yeah, I understand and សូមស្វាគមន៍ពេលណាក៏បានដែរហើយតែបងអត់រវល់
Looks like two of you have a coffee date coming up. Okay, any questions for Mintet from myself actually? Our time's running out, so anyone else who has last minute questions, please shoot them over. Mintet, for Singapore companies coming to Cambodia, what sort of grants and what sort of financial aid can they look for, whether it's from SBF or from any other government entities?
Thank you. That's a great question. You know what? Just now it was like typing up too much
Money
about...
talks, man. Money talks.
Exactly, right? Somehow we're SME, you know, we have limited pot and we gotta know where to put it, right? So this is where it's important. I think some of us may be familiar, but there is a grant by ESG called Market Readiness Assistance. It's called MRA grant. Sometimes I keep referring to it as MRA, I forget what it stands for, but the MRA grant, right? So as long as it's $100,000 grant that's split into 3 portions, right? There's an exact split, I won't really go into it, but basically it can cover setup. So if you ever want to set up a legal entity there, or a lawyer fees and a consultation fee, it can be covered. But not just that, like recently, it can also cover a business development personnel. So, you know, you can't just set up there and like just let it run, right? You gotta hire somebody to actually be on the ground. So the grant actually covers quite a big portion of that as well. So in total, the grant can cover up to 80% of your internationalization cost. And for the manpower, I believe it was 70, right? There's like fine prints there, but basically you can think of it as 80%. I will drop the link of it later in chat and you can find out a bit more. To be eligible for that is just be at least 30% Singapore owned, and you have not gone into that market before, or at least in a big way. So less than 100,000 per year in revenue for the past 3 years in the market, and you're considered new to market. So that's it.
Fantastic. Wow, what more can you ask for?
Yep.
Excellent.
Thanks,
Mintet. Yeah. All right, I think we got time. Time's running out, right, Andrew? I think maybe one last question from everybody. Anyone?
There's one question from Mr. Logis Warren.
You mean Logi?
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead. Logi, switch on your audio and speak lah.
Okay. Hi, my name is Logan. But currently I'm running my own business here at the moment. right? So my own business is more on consultancy, construction. So I'm a bit curious about the one-stop mechanism. So in terms of like how we want to retrieve information. So we deal a lot with the land management ministry and city hall, town planning, and everything. So most of the information comes in Khmer. Yeah, of course, when investor comes in, right? So most of foreign investors, like from Singapore, Hong Kong, or some, they would like to see certain documents in English. So does the one-stop mechanism will be implementing something like that, so we can easily retrieve the information, or how is it going to be? Because the current process is we retrieve the information, which is in Khmer, and then we do our own translation, right? So sometimes when it comes to like a legal document, the translation may not be sounded out correctly. So that's one of the concerns. Yeah, that's my question.
This question, I understand. Even our investment law is in unofficial translation in the English version. We use the Cambodian language as the one that prevails. So as for most legal laws and regulations, you will not find to be translated to a different language that is authorized by the government. However, as you know, CDC is the one who helps your business to grow. We are the ones who make sure everyone is working together in a comprehensive way and a good way. If the law is iffy once, excuse my language, if it's iffy once it's translated, what the CDC can do, what I can do is just refer you to the representative from the Ministry of Urban Planning, Construction, Land Management, to the correct person that may be bilingual, that knows both languages, has a background in policy making, to give you the right interpretation of the law. Thank you. This is how we can help you. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay,
Well,
thank you.
Yeah, I hope that answers part of your question, Logie, I know. Anyway, I think in terms of translation of laws or, government policies, there's quite a few unofficial translations, mainly by the different Chamber of Commerces. Some of the law firms and some of the consultancy companies also do it, but they're not official. Yeah, so they're merely as a guide. You can use those as a guide, and then you can have your Khmer partners or staff, compare the English version or the other language version with the official version. I think that's probably the best way to go about it. Yeah, in terms of translation, anyway. Great. I think that's it. Wow, that time flies when you're having fun. And I hope that everyone has gained a lot from this this webinar. Again, kudos to all of you. I mean, this is a year of webinars and you still managed to come to one right before the year end, and it was a very productive. Thank you a lot to our speakers, Mr. Ross from the CDC, Mintet from SBF, thank you, and Andrew from the Singapore Club. That's it then, I guess, everybody. Okun, have a great day and see you all at the next webinar.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, sir.
Oh,
Thank you.
sorry, one more thing. Everyone's been asking about the slides. So we'll get back to you on that, okay? Yeah, we'll get back to you on the slides. Thank you again.
Thanks. Hi. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.